Hi guys, it's Mr. T here. Still doing my tour guide duties here. Not on the beach as I'd like to be, but by HRW online textbook. But this time, instead of just going over the dashboard and resources, I'm actually going to go into some of the assignments and show you some of the features that are available in your different homework assignments. So down here under assignments, I have two different ones. One that says start, and one that says resume. Obviously, I opened up this one already and did a save on it. And again, just a reminder that this due soon is more of the assignment's going to go away after this date. The drop dead going away due. Your teacher sets the due date. Okay, that's the date when the assignment will no longer be available to do, even if you want to do it for late work. And then note, you always want to check the note for whatever your teacher might be telling you. I put what the assignment is, what I'm looking for them to do, any special instructions there. So look at here in this resume. Let's go look at some of the features to have. Okay. Now, this is Algebra 2. The material is not the main thing, but to kind of show you some stuff here. So along the top, we have 1 through 10. It shows you 1 through 10. And you see the left side's grayed out, so you can't choose those. But you can go to the right, one piece at a time. And you notice that it counted number 1 wrong. So I never really answered it. Or I did answer it, I just picked something. Or I can hit the double, and that just jumps along. So there's 22 possibilities there across the top there. You're in there and you want, oh, I need to go to the textbook. I forgot what that said. You can go to the textbook. You can print things out. So let me get back to the beginning. And now this is like midway through Algebra 2 kind of assignment. So again, don't pay attention to all that kind of thing. Let me jump back over here. We got this graph. So this is a part of an interesting type of a question here. It's got part 1 and part 2 of 8. And so this is going to ask you one question at a time as you go through. And so this is, which one of these matches this graph? So for me, that is D. Okay, and then that opens the door for me to go, and then I go check and go, please answer the question. Well, let me try again. D. Oh, they're wanting ready. They're ready for part 2. I've already missed that one, I guess. Okay, that's fine. All right. Part 2 says the domain, and that really isn't a it's all reals, and my range is all reals. So that's just a pull down kind of menu for that. And so now when I hit check, okay, it says check mark, I'm done, and it opens part 3 of 8. And each one of those I can hit check. And if I hit check and it says it's so let me just grab something real quick here. And I know that this one's going to be wrong. I hit check. And it says try again. Now, some people just go straight to try again and close that text box. I'm going to encourage you to actually read the words in there. Now, sometimes it ends up being just math gobbledygook and it's not overly helpful, or it's so detailed that they just lose their answers in it. But other times, there's some key points in there that tells you what is wrong. So you think you have the right answer, but maybe you didn't type it just right. There could be information in there that will give you a clue on what you need to do to change to make it correct. Okay, so don't just hit the X and go ahead and guess again. Actually read it. Okay, sometimes it's not overly helpful, but other times it is, and you don't know until you read it. Okay, so that's kind of how that thing would go. Let's look at a different kind of question. Or when you're done, you can hit next or next question. Let's go to this one. Okay, this has got a question here, and it's got a couple different things we got to go. Well, we were going to be, that should be right, and then an H there. So the transformation will be right. So I'm going down here to check answer. Correct. There you go. So I close that off and I hit next question. And you can see now I have a red X over my 1 because I never finished it, so I never got full credit for it. Okay. I believe I probably at this point could go back and finish it if I wanted to. Any of the questions I haven't answered already. Okay. Um, and then this other one is correct. Now I'm on number 3. And I'm reading this question. I go like, I'm not really sure. So what I'm going to do is go from question to example. Okay. And now it's gone through the example and it could have more information normally or that kind of thing. But they've taken this question that I'm on and told you how to work it or given you the answer. And you're like, oh, okay. Well, what happens now if I go to the next one? I didn't get credit for doing that one, did I? All right. But what I want to do is I'm going to go back to number 3. It says you've already seen the answer to this. Okay. They say hit try another. Okay. Well, if I hit try another, it calculates us a new question. It's a very similar question with different numbers. It just changed the numbers around. And now you can use what you figured out from the last example to do this problem. Okay. And let's see here. It's going to be by a factor of 8. And across the line of the x-axis. And now here it's hit check. I get it correct. And then I go to my next question, and it's green. And it's green. Now, if you hit too many examples and it runs out of examples, it might give you a yellow or a red or something. And for me, generally green is good. A few yellows is to be expected from time to time, and I don't want any reds, at least on anything that I assigned. Okay, that's what we're shooting for. Now, the next thing that's going to be helpful is this step by step. Okay. Now, you notice it says step 1 of 1. For this problem, it was just a pretty straightforward kind of answer. And so, and the answer would be 2 units up. And then I check it, and it says, yes, step 1 of 1. And so now I'm going to hit try another. But sometimes this is a pretty quick and easy kind of question, but more often than not, it's something that you're going to need step by step on. It's going to be something a little bit more complicated. And the step by step is very, very detailed. And that can be really nice, but it also can be overkill more often than not. So checking an example is probably your first line of defense on this online stuff. And don't forget, after you do the example, you need to go down and hit try another. We've already done that here, so that button is now turned back to check answer button. But if you've done something, you got it wrong at first, but now you've kind of figured out that kind of question, and you'd like another shot at it, you just hit try another. And you can get either green or maybe a yellow, depending on how many times you try. So those are some of the features that are available to you there. Well, underneath this box that you can't really see, there is a save and close, and then there's a turn in over there behind that. Let's look at some other examples, though, of types of problems. Okay, all these are very, very similar. So one of those multi-step kind of things. You got nice little graphs. Okay. These are good questions along the way, and then but they step you through. You get stuck on the way. You need to hit example. Now, but I do want to warn you. Not every question you can hit example with and still get credit for. So there's sometimes they only have one question in their system like that one, and they basically say, well, if we show you the example, it's basically going to be showing you how to do this one problem, and it's the only problem we got. So we're going to not give you credit for it. We don't mind showing it to you, but you're not going to get credit for it. Okay. So it'll give you a warning message if that's to happen. So when the boxes pop up, you should read them. Okay. Sometimes you get through and you start getting annoyed, and it's that same question. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, but it might be different. So take half a second and look at what it says, when the little boxes come up. They can be kind of helpful to walk you through some things. All right. Found a different kind of here. This is one where you pick up information, you kind of drop it off. I'm just randomly picking things at this point. And then if you're, and I don't suggest that. You should really probably calculate some things to figure that out. And then once you're there, you can hit your check answer. And mine says try again. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, I did something wrong. Was the main thing I did wrong was not pay attention to any of the questions. Just randomly pick numbers. That was the biggest mistake. That's not a really good test taking strategy, is it? Just not look and just randomly guess, things, and especially fill in the blank because you can't even do Z then, can you? All right, so there's several things, and you're going to want to try to get um, greens on everything you were assigned. Now, the bad news to this, okay, for my students, they were only assigned 1 through I think 13, and then number 16 or 18, something like that. Well, there are 22 problems in this section of the textbook, and I only assign 14 of them. So let me check this on my calendar here. So that's 14 out of 22. If you get everything just perfect, you would get a 64. Okay, so when I run the report, it's going to say 64. But I did exactly what you asked me to do, and I got them all right. Well, so I understand that. So I'm not going to use the 64. I'm going to use, they did the problems I asked them, they will get 100. Okay, they worked them, they did diligently, they did a good job, and they skipped the ones I told them to skip. I'm not going to count those against you. I told you to skip those, right? So that's how that would be calculated. Okay, so we've gone through the assignment, but I'm not quite ready. So I'm going to hit save and close, and it's still up and running for me. Okay, but once I hit my due date, it's not going to let me get back in. So you're going to want to have it turned in before the due date. Okay, now this one says start, and there you are. Okay. Just want to remind you that when you see your report and you've done all these right here and you come up with a 64 on the grade for this section, that's was the best you could hope for, or 67, whichever it was. Let's see. It was a 64. So getting a 64 for this assignment, it's like getting 100 because you were only assigned 64% of it. You got 64. Be careful that you don't get a 64 and you think that's good, but you didn't do the problems. That's not going to be as good, is it? If you were told to do 1 through 10 and you decided to do the evens 2 through 20, you're still going to do the same number of problems, but they're not going to be the ones that were assigned. So be careful to watch out for that. Okay, here's something else I needed to show you. Sometimes you open up a box and then this next box comes up next to you. Okay, and that's just if you need to enter a box that where a number will go for an absolute value bars, power to a power with your exponents, or sub number, all these different setups. So if I wanted to do a cube root, I would put a 3 there, put my right arrow, and the cube root of 8. That's what I want that to be. Maybe 8x or something. Okay, and that's how I could use that. If it's just everything's going south and you can't keep straight what's going on, just either erase a single item or use this big old cupcake trash can thing. Depends on who you're talking to, what they call it, but that will remove what you're working on because you have not actually put it into the vault and answered the questions there just yet. Um, but that is definitely an important piece of working with these things here, this box, and getting good with that and how that works. Okay. As always, I hope that was helpful to you. You have a good day.